So I actually studied for this board exam. I started studying for it like um, I started studying like maybe like September, October of last year, and I have some videos up about it. You know, when I tried studying for it that time, I studied for it for about I don't know 3.5 months, almost 4 months, because I was initially planning to take it in December, and I didn't. Well, I didn't end up taking it. I just felt like I wasn't prepared, and that's what ended up happening that time. I was studying hella like crazy amounts of hours, but sometimes like that doesn't really translate to success, and Irvin and I talk about this a lot because there's an efficient and effective way of studying, right? And I felt like I hadn't figured that out in terms of this exam, at least in particular. And so I I decided to take a break, and it was longer than I thought. It was a little longer than expected, to be honest. Ended up taking a break for like 2 months, probably, maybe, yeah, almost three. Until I started studying for it again this year, and then I studied again for another like 3.5 months. Um, this time I went into it like way more strategic. Um, I like just basically planned it out to a way that it was going to focus on my weaknesses, if that makes sense. And so um, that's what I ended up doing. And yeah, I did that for about like 3.5 months. Took it a couple weeks ago. And leading up to it, honestly, this time around, I was very excited. It was a very different feeling from the first time. Because the first time, I actually was like scared. I was super scared when the date was coming up. And I almost felt like going into it wasn't the right thing to do. Like I wasn't ready mentally, emotionally to go into that exam, man. It's crazy. It's a big exam, right? It's a lot of stuff that you have to learn, have to know. Um, and so that's how I felt then. I was like really worried and scared. This time around though, I felt very differently. I felt like I was excited about it. I wanted to go in there. I was like I was ready. I don't know if I was ready because no one really knows if they're ready. Like, there's really no way to tell. I mean, at least for me, like I never thought like, oh yes, I'm gonna destroy this exam, or I'm gonna like I never truly felt that way, right? Like, but I knew that I had approached it differently. I felt like I approached it in much better, and so in my practice exams and the questions I was doing, that kind of translated, and so I was doing better. I was doing way better than I ever did first time around, and so based off of that, that's when I knew. I think it's time, because honestly, like you have to like weigh it out as well, right? Because the more I kept studying, and the more I like kept pushing myself. One, I mean, burnout, right? I feel like we all know about that. Burnout is pretty real. Like, we all can probably attest to that. There's just such thing as like working way too damn hard, overdoing it, right? We need to like be able to give ourselves breaks, right? And so I was going full speed basically for, again, this extended period of time, and so I felt like I had to take it soon before I kind of like went downhill instead, right? I had to ride that momentum that I was feeling good. And so, and not just that, but as time went on, I noticed that I was kind of like forgetting some things, so like I had some questions, and I was like, dang it, like I know that I knew this at some point, but I don't really remember it anymore. Like, so stuff like that kept kind of happening. And so I knew, like, you know what, I'm going into it, like this is it, it's all it. I tried my best. I know I did what I could. Like, I definitely felt like I left it all. I emptied out my tank basically, going into this, and so whatever the results are, I was going to be okay with it, and so that's how I feel now. Like, because as long as I know that I gave it my all, and that applied for everything really. I guess that mentality, like, of course I carry it with me, like, through undergrad, and then of course the MCAT and things like that. This exam I would say was definitely probably a step above that. Really, couple levels higher than that, but um, yeah, exam day, night before, I day before actually, I like had no caffeine because I was drinking caffeine, obviously, stuff like that, and I was like, I'm gonna go to sleep. I need to make sure I get some sleep the night before my exam. I was also kind of like dealing with like horrible, horrible sleeping patterns, and my schedule was just like, not even my schedule either, but like, as the exam day approached, my anxiety was just like picking up, and so like, um, I I wasn't sleeping that good. And so, anyways, day before the exam, I made sure, like, all right, and I was like trying to study, but I just couldn't. Like, my mentally, I was just like, this is kind of it. Like this, I don't know what else I could really do. I mean, truthfully and realistically, like, okay, sure, maybe couple of like quick high yield review stuff, right? Whatever, like, sure, that can help, and I did do that. Some quick, like, high yield review stuff, like at the end of the step one book and things like that, and there's like a section and stuff, and of course, but like real intense studying, like, no, that wasn't happening the day before the exam. I got like a good ass workout in that day, um, and did some cardio, and stuff like that, and I was just like mentally preparing myself for that day. I was excited. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, just feeling like I wanted to take it. Again, not ready, because I think that's different. I never like felt like, oh my god, like this, I got it in the bag or nothing like that. But went into it, and then that day, y'all ain't gonna believe this, but like, I felt like there was not a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna say a lot of things went wrong, but like, there was definitely some stuff that happened that day that I'm like, yo, like, it was just throwing me off. First one was, I've been dealing with a shoulder injury, and again, I'm not saying this, no excuses, by the way. I'm cool, like, whatever happens, it happens. I'm not trying to make excuses at all, please. But like, I've just been thinking about this a lot, and I'm just like, this is part of the reason why I went out of like the exam day of feeling the way I did. Because after I was thinking, I'm like, dang it, like, why did this happen? Why did this happen today? And so, like, I was mentioning, I've been dealing with a shoulder injury for, man, maybe like 2 months now. I was benching, and I just freaking poor form or something. I just really hurt my shoulder. It still hurts actually right now. But as I was like, leading up to the exam day, I would do like movements to, like, I was doing like my own rehab type stuff to try to make it better. But for some reason, that day, my shoulder was like in so much pain. I had so much pain. It was literally like pounding. And I was taking my exam, like, and they give you like a mouse. You have your own little section. My shoulder was like literally bothering the heck out of me. And I was like, yo, what the heck? Like, I don't even remember this happening like in any of the study days. And my shoulder was like hurting to the point where I had to like stop and like think, like, why is my shoulder hurting this much? So that was going on like that day. My shoulder was hurting. And then I had to, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I didn't want to mess nothing up. I don't want to talk to no anyone, because I mean, there's cameras and stuff, obviously. And I'm talking about when you step out, because you have breaks and stuff. Like, you can ask, like, after a section, step out, use the bathroom, drink water, whatever, have a snack. That's what I'm talking about, not during the exam. But like, even when I stepped out, like, I wasn't even trying to speak to anyone. I just didn't want to, like, I don't know, man. I was overthinking it. But what I really wanted to do was ask somebody for some painkillers. Like, I wanted to do that so bad. this was literally like this. The exam is seven sections. This was like, I noticed it by the maybe the third section. I was like, oh my goodness, like I need some painkillers or something. Like something, what's going on, you know? So, anyways, I obviously I didn't get any. I didn't get any painkillers. I had to just deal with the pain as I was taking the exam. Um, and as the sections were going, I made sure I used all my breaks. By the way, I made a huge. I feel like I learned from when I took the MCAT. I mean, I don't want to say mistake, but I didn't like. I didn't use all of my breaks, and I kind of just went back to back on sections, and I felt like the break definitely helps. You know, at least to like get up, stretch, drink some water, whatever, instead of like just going back to back and like. You know, once you're like halfway in that second block, you might be like, I don't know, like, oh shoot, like I'm having a harder time focusing or whatever, you know. But anyways, I made sure I used my breaks, drank water, ate, you know, I took some sandwiches, and to be honest, I didn't even eat them. I took like 2-3 bites from my sandwich because I was hungry. Because I thought that I shouldn't get hungry, and so I'm like, all right, I'm not hungry right now, but I don't want to get hungry during the exam. Let me take some bites. But to be honest, like I wasn't even hungry during the day. I felt like during the fourth section, like that break, I was already like, oh my goodness, like this is tough. And so like now talking about like in the exam, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like I mentioned, I put in hella work, so like it's not like I was in there complete like clueless, you know. That's not what I'm saying either. Like there's definitely stuff that I knew for sure, like, oh, it's this, boom, all right, next. And then there was other stuff where I'm like, whoa, what the heck, what is this, you know? Let me see on the chat. What's up, Alexis? Not sure if you remember me, but I'm a fool about going to Berkeley. Oh, what's up, bro? Yeah, yeah, I remember you. Did you start already at Berkeley? Let me see. Look, I'm trying to make this thing bigger right here. Can't really see. For real, always, right? I had to perform, like my joint pain just flared up. That's actually a good point. Maybe that's what it was, like the stress. I don't know. It was like just a mental thing, right? Some sort of yeah, for sure, I don't know, but definitely I just was hyper aware about it. And so, anyways, during the exam, like I was mentioning, there was questions that, of course, I knew. Boom, easy. All right, I know what this is. Easy, next. And then another one where I was like, oh shit. Sorry, I don't mean curse, but I was like, all right. Obviously, you have to like make an educated guess, right, to the best of your ability with all the stuff that you've learned, and that's kind of how a lot of the questions were. But I expected that, right, because that's how the exam is. You really like learn your stuff, and you have to like be able to really like use your exam taking techniques and the stuff you've learned to really like cross cross things out, and then and it's just kind of pick the best answer and stuff like that. And that's how it went. And then you ain't gonna believe this, but at the end of like during my last 2 blocks, man, I'm usually like I'm not trying to like I'm not a I don't have like beef with anybody. I'm not that type of person. At least I don't like to like get into drama and stuff like that. I mean, who does, right? Like any of us. But damn, I was in there taking the exam, and then low key though, don't tell nobody. But I seen somebody that like had low key done something like that. Not really did me dirty, but like like it was somebody that I was like, whoa, like what the heck, like you're in here. And so I mean, I didn't talk to them, of course, but then that was like my last 2. Like I still had 2 sections left. And I was just like, yo, whoa, what the heck is going on right now? That kind of like clouded my mind for a bit. But anyways, of course, I was able to just lock back in, boom, get back into the exam for those last 2 sections. But that was kind of crazy, y'all.